As the fall wind began to set in, and kids returned to their classrooms, leaving their live service games to languish in the post-summer holiday blues, creative lead of Fortnite Battle Royale, Donald Mustard, shocked the gaming world when he announced his retirement. This surprise revelation came at a time when many Fortnite players were openly questioning the creative direction of the game, and their worries were further validated only a few weeks later when the Hollywood unions authorized strikes within the video game sphere. This effectively puts a halt on anything that Fortnite may have been working on post-Mustard era, and it may even serve to delay upcoming content such as a new chapter that was planned for the end of this year. But the blows just keep coming, as only a few days ago the FTC dropped a $275 million settlement onto the desk of Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games. Epic Games, of course, being the publishers of Fortnite, but also the buyers of games such as Rocket League and Fall Guys. The very next day after the FTC decision, we saw an increase in digital currency within these games. And while it only amounts to about $1 increase in the United States, and is still technically cheaper than V-Bucks were pre-Apple lawsuit, in some regions such as Turkey, the price of digital currency has increased by about 3 times. And it was less than 24 hours after this change that it was announced 900 employees of Epic Games had been laid off. This amounts to roughly 16% of Epic Games' total workforce, about a third of which were considered core developers. This includes the lead UI designer, Fortnite senior brand director, the community manager of Save the World, which now leaves that game mode with only 2 active developers despite getting around 20,000 average players, and even a large portion of the Fall Guys development team. Now, I sincerely wish the best for all of those affected by these layoffs. Fortnite has been one of my favorite games of the past 5 to 10 years. I've literally built this channel on it, and it's thanks to the collective efforts of these individuals that this game even got as big as it did in the first place. But I'm sure what you all are wondering, and what I'll attempt to answer, is how did such a gigantic game get in such a dire situation in the first place? And what does this mean for Fortnite's future? Per the admission of Tim Sweeney, Epic Games had been spending way more money than it was earning in an effort to push the Fortnite platform into a metaverse sort of status, drawing on both brand collaborations and user-generated content to achieve this vision. However, this new business model is much more expensive for them than the old one, as they've committed to doing creator payouts at 40% of their net revenue, which means that Fortnite only has 60% of their revenue to work with when it comes to paying employees, doing company expansions, and courting brand crossovers. However, this letter is quite clear that Epic Games will continue to focus on their metaverse vision despite the current troubles, stating that though Fortnite is growing again, much of this growth is coming from user-generated content, and that third-party experiences are actually achieving higher engagement than their first-party productions. And though it's easy to get caught up in these numbers, I think the term engagement can be pretty deceptive. Though overall playtime may be higher in creative maps than Battle Royale right now, this is an aggregate of hundreds if not thousands of user-generated maps, compared to the fairly centralized experience of Battle Royale, which still draws around 700,000 players average. While creative maps may serve to supplement the experience, most players are still interacting with the Battle Royale on a regular basis. And when it comes to the content creation space, it is definitely considered the default mode of Fortnite. The engagement methodology also doesn't account for quality, as many of these maps are technically deficient, devoid of substance, utterly simplistic, and at their worst, pure clickbait. When a game has this many kids playing, there's simply no accounting for taste. Let's also consider that of the maps that do actually pop off, many of them are trafficking in the meme of the week, such as Only Up Fortnite, survival games, or even literal meme tycoon maps. And speaking of tycoon maps, many of these popular maps are just derivatives of other experiences. As much as I played CypherPK's Rocket Wars, I have to admit it was just a reskinned Go-Goated map. However, as much as I can complain about the lack of creativity in the most popular creative experiences, the fact of the matter is these maps draw players. They create engagement. and that's what Epic cares about the most. In regards to Fortnite's future, don't expect to see the changes immediately. The upcoming Halloween update is most likely already complete, and while the long-rumored LEGO mini season may see some changes before release, I don't expect a severe reduction in scale as Epic Games has already eaten the licensing costs, and the brand deal no doubt came with some certain expectations on LEGO's part. No, my friends, the real changes will come once Chapter 5 releases. When it finally releases. Currently, the expectation is for a chapter-ending event to happen in late November or early December, as this has been the pattern for Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. However, each chapter is launched with a benchmark mechanic. In Chapter 2, you had the water physics, in Chapter 3, you had zero build in the parkour system, and in Chapter 4, you had the augment or in-game perk system. There have been many leaks regarding the potential new mechanic of Chapter 5, everything from a true first-person mode to weapon modding, and maybe even a dedicated driving mode with its own ranked system. Let's go, baby! Solo dub of the day. Happy birthday, Fortnite. 6 years, bro. 6 years. And it took us that long to get good. Are you kidding me? Some options are certainly a bit more interesting than others, but between these layoffs and the upcoming union strikes, the question arises if Epic Games still has the framework in place to achieve these goals. And I'm sure Tim Sweeney would agree with my emphatic opinion that without a cornerstone mechanic and a chapter-ending live event, you simply don't have a new chapter of Fortnite. Then again, these layoffs could have already been coming down the pipe and only been accelerated by outside factors. From my perspective, a downward trend of 10% or more is a disaster worth noting, and at the very least, it could have a dramatic effect on morale within the company, which can have unforeseen consequences. I also want to say before turning this discussion over to the comment, I don't want to see Fortnite devs, X or otherwise, getting into battles with UEFN or creative devs, even though I know you guys now share a revenue stream. Without expounding too much, Battle Royale has definitely fallen from its heights. Creative suites and user-generated content trump all when you look at the insane success of Minecraft and Roblox. And ultimately, a rising tide raises all ships, which means if these creative experiences are driving more players and bringing more players to the cash shop, it only increases the value of the game and the company as a whole. Worst case scenario, you can go ahead and make your own map in UEFN and publish it in Fortnite if you were one of the people that got laid off and make your money that way. But don't go fighting each other on Twitter and social media because it means you're forgetting the thing that's most important, and that's the player. Simply put, it's what the player wants and what the player actually decides to play that matters the most. Why don't you go ahead and check out another one of my discussion vids. I'm not sure which side it's gonna be on. I enjoy making these videos every time I do, so if you want to see more like this, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, drop a like, and of course, share it with someone you love.